Hey guys, it's me, Cameron, with Ozark Mountain Discs, and I just want to show you what's in my bag. So first I'm going to start with my putters and approach discs. So I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. So we'll start with the putting putters first. I've got the Bro D Blend Roaches. I've got 2 of them. I just recently made the switch. I putt with PA3s for the longest time. Started putting with Roaches, really liked how they were flying, so I made the switch. These are just a nice straight putter. I love how they feel. This plastic, it's a mix between like a firm putter and soft. It's just that the Bro D Blend is super nice in my opinion. Throwing putter, I have one. I have the PA3. It's a nice straight flight with a nice reliable finish back to the left at the end. But these are super nice. I have it in 300G plastic. It's a nice firm hard plastic. It's pretty durable for the 350G, but I really like this one as well. So for my approach discs, my first one, I've got the A5. This one was pretty beat up. It's just a nice flat disc. If I really rip on it, I'll get some turn. I use it a lot for just like short little flick shots that I want to go dead straight. This is my go-to. And then next I have 2 A2s. The first one was actually given to me by Ezra Robinson out in Kentucky at Idlewild. This one's 300 soft. I love this thing. I had one before. He gave me this one, so I switched it, had to. But this one, it's beat up, but it's still just as overstable as it came out of the box. I use this one pretty much only forehand approaches, but I love it. It gets to the ground, it just sticks because it's that 300 soft plastic, but I really like this one. This new one is it's an A2, it's in 500 plastic, but this is our new Ezra stamp. I don't know if you can see it. Ezra with the Phoenix right here. This one's super sweet. I literally just put this in the bag today, but I can only imagine it's gonna be really overstable, and again, I'm gonna use it for those forehand approach shots. And next we're gonna go to the mids. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 mids. I'm gonna list them off in terms of stability. So the first one, I've got this Ezra Robinson Glow M4. He actually gave me this one as well. It's a straight. If I throw it with a little hyzer, it'll pop up and ride straight. If I throw it flat, it's gonna get a lot of turn out of it. These, I don't know if it's all of them, I hope so. These are super glidey. They stay in the air forever, and so I really like this one. The glow plastic feels really nice in the hands. The next one, let's see here. I've got a Prodigy M2 in 400 plastic. I've had this M2, I think, for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. It's super beat up, and it's really nice. If I rip on it, I'm gonna get some turn out of it. But for the most part, it's just one of those discs that if I throw it flat, it's gonna go flat, it's gonna land flat. Not much movement out of it at all. So it's really nice. The next one here, I've got a KC Pro Rock with our Ozark Mountain Disc stamp on it. This one's nice, it's pretty beat up too. But this one's like, it's definitely a hyzer flip disc and just rides flat, and the rock still has a nice stable finish. This is like a really good woods disc because if I hit it flat, I'm gonna get some turn, not a lot. It's mostly gonna be dead straight. But if I put it on hyzers, it's a nice pop-up flat disc and it'll just ride for me. The next here, I've got this Lizadal Eclipse Hex. This one's fairly new to the bag, maybe a couple months. I really like it though. I threw the Buzz for the longest time. Just recently made the switch to the Hex. And I love the way it feels. In my opinion, it feels much better than the Buzz. But it's just a dead straight disc, and then it's got great finish to the left. It's situational for me. I throw these two interchangeably. They kind of do the same thing. This one's just slightly more overstable or has like a harder finish. But that and the M2 are pretty much the same disc for me. Then we've got this Prodigy. It's an M1 Proto. It's just a beef. It's actually not as overstable as I thought it was going to be. It's still super overstable, but I get out and it pushes really straight for me, and then it has a super hard finish. I've tried to throw this one forehand. It's mostly just my backhand approach disc if I need a wide hyzer somewhere. And then I've got this Justice. I think it's the Lucid. It's kind of got a little glimmer to it. But this Justice is like probably the disc that I throw the most in my bag as far as like mids go or even approach. I throw this off the tee a lot. It's just, I mean, if you know the Justice, it's just like super beef. And so I only throw this one forehand. So I throw these are almost the same disc. I throw this one backhand, I throw this one forehand, and I throw this one everywhere. I love it. I recently made the switch to the Justice. It's been a couple months now. I threw the MX1 when it was brand new because I was a big Prodigy guy. Didn't think it was super overstable, so I made the switch to the Justice, and I love what it's doing for me right now. Now let's go to the fairways. I've got a lot, so we're gonna get through it fairly quickly, I hope. Let's see, I think, one more. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9 fairways, which I don't know if that's a lot for most people. I throw all of these quite often, so it works for me. So the first one, I wiped the stamp, but it's an FX3. I've had this one for a while. It's beat up. It's just a dead straight disc. Whatever angle I put it on, it's gonna hold. I love this thing. The new 400 plastic that Prodigy's doing is one of the best feeling plastics in my opinion. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend it. They're super sweet, they feel good, they go far, so that's really nice. The next one, let's see. We'll start from the top. The next one is this G-Star Roadrunner. You could call this a roller disc. It definitely is super flippy. I'm not good at rollers. I don't practice rollers. I don't care to be good at rollers. So this one's a really it's really just a hyzer, like steep hyzer flip, pop up to flat, or a big wide like Annie that just pans. That's what this disc is for. I don't throw it often, but it's just a good utility disc to have in my opinion. The next one is this Paul Macbeth. It's the Proto Athena. I really like this disc. I wish I threw it more. I don't know why I don't. I don't know if I just don't want to get it dirty or what. But this disc is pretty overstable. It's basically, everyone says it's the T-Bird. It's pretty similar, but it's super overstable for me. Not super, but pretty overstable for me. I don't throw it backhand a lot. If I do, it's only into a headwind. But I forehand this one quite a bit. It's almost primarily forehand. But I like it. If I throw it hard, it's a slow enough speed that if I throw it hard on hyzer, I can kind of get it to flip up, or I just throw it on soft little Annie flexes, and it'll ride. Nice S-turn out of it. So I really like the feel of this one. This FX2, I love the FX2. It's one of my favorite discs of all time. This one was actually given to me by Ezra Robinson as well, so I think that's 3 that he's given me, so shout out to him for that. I love this disc. This is super overstable. This one, it's almost just as overstable as this Captain's Raptor. I use these interchangeably. I'll probably throw this one more when it's headwind, but if it's kind of a soft headwind and I want something to ride a little flatter, I'll throw the FX2. But these two are pretty much the same disc for me right now. The next one, we got this T-Bird 3. I don't throw this one a lot either. I wish I did. I only really throw this one into a headwind. It's a metal flake, and so it's got a little more overstability to it. But this one and my FX3, so if it's a tailwind, I'll throw the FX3. If it's a headwind, I'll throw the T-Bird 3, and they pretty much get the same flight for me. The next one, the Raptor, I love this disc. This one and the Justice are probably 2 of my most thrown discs. I throw this off the tee a lot. It's ESP, it's just consistent overstability. It's a headwind fighter, but it's not as overstable as that Captain's Raptor, which is really nice. This one's pretty beat up. I don't think I throw this one backhand at all, actually. I really only throw this one forehand. But it's a good feeling disc, and I've said it once, I'll say it again. The Raptor is better than the Firebird. We can argue about it, and I will win. So, the Raptor. The next one is this, it's a Big Z Undertaker. I've had this is probably the oldest disc in my bag actually. I had this one pretty soon after I started playing. It was given to me by a friend, but it's super understable. I love this disc in the woods. It's just a little pop-up hyzer, or if I really rip on it, I'll get a lot of turn and it's not coming back. It's just gonna hold that angle forever. I love this disc. It feels good in the hands. It's got that kind of a smaller rim to it, but I love the way this feels. I love the way it flies, and I hope it's gonna stay in the bag until I lose it or it breaks. So the last disc I have is this Ozark Mountain disc stamped. It's a Sidewinder. It's a 157 Sidewinder. Super light, super flippy. I love this disc, and it's actually probably one of my furthest flyers backhand. It's just, I mean, I can throw it on steep hyzer. It's gonna pop up and even ride, and it's just gonna hold that. I might get a little turn at the end, depending on how high I throw it, but I love this disc. It's so smooth, it feels good coming out, and I think just the lightweight, it comes out quicker. But I love this disc. And lastly, we're gonna move to the drivers, the big guys. So we're gonna start out with my favorite disc. You could say best for last, but I'm not going to. This is my Star Destroyer. I've had this one for a long time. I live and die by the bottom stamp destroyers. I don't know what it is about them. They're just, for me, the most consistent. When I buy the bottom stamp, I know what I'm getting. This one's actually my ace disc. I aced hole 1 at Macaulay Park in Nixa with it. It was 325 feet, which is my longest ace. However, it was during a tournament. I didn't pay the ace pot, so I missed out on $1,800. But the memory lives on. So what could have been, you know? The next one is this bottom stamp Wraith. This is probably, it's a used, but it's probably the newest disc in my bag. I love this disc. I had an orange bottom stamp that was just perfectly seasoned. I lost it, never got returned. Someone texted me, told me they found it, and then they said they were gonna keep it. So I guess there's really nothing I can do about that. But so I've got this yellow one I found when I was in Kentucky, and it's just a bomber. I only throw this forehand, but if I have a tailwind, I'll throw this and maybe like slight angle, and I mean, it just goes forever. It's probably forehand, probably my furthest flying disc. Probably in my bag actually, but I love this thing. I'm so glad I found one that was already used a bit and beat up. So I really was missing this for a long time in my bag. The next one here is this Paul Macbeth Destroyer. It's a 4-time destroyer, which is pretty cool. It's 168, and so it's a lighter one. So a lot of times, if there's just like if it's a heavy tailwind, I'll throw this bottom stamp Wraith. If it's just like a slight tailwind, I'll throw this one. Those kind of get the same distance, and then if it's just straight headwind, I'll throw my Star Destroyer because it's max weight. But all 3 of these have their spots, and I love them dearly. The next one, I have this factory second. It's a Pro Beast. I've had this one for a while. It's probably my oldest disc, maybe, not in my bag. I bought it years ago. Never threw it because I didn't have the arm for it. Now it's finally back in the bag. This disc is just dead straight, and so it goes a little bit further than my FX3, but it's the same flight. So I mean, if I throw it flat, I might get a touch of turn, but for the most part, it's just gonna ride dead straight the whole flight, which I really like. The next, I'll even do these at the same time. I have the Paul Macbeth. It's a Proto Hades. And then I have a Z Scorch. These discs are pretty much the same disc in my bag. I throw the Hades more just because I think it's cooler. But they do the same thing. They're my longest distance drivers, backhand shots. I get a lot of turn out of these, but they still have enough time to fight back. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to say it. I don't throw far. Like 360. I think my longest throw backhand is like 375, but that's like on a good day in tailwind. And so I really like to get better, but these are a lot of forgiveness for me just because of the understability. I can even, I'm still working on form, slower arm, but even with my slight slower arm, I still get a good amount of turn out of these. They'll ride for a bit. I can still get a big S curve out of it. I carry both of these. I like to beat one up. So the Scorch is probably older. It was my brother Jacob's before me. So he's beat it up quite a bit, and so it's a little flippier. So I mostly throw this one, but anytime in the woods, mostly I'll go to the Scorch instead. But big open bombers, it's gonna be the Plummet Bet Hades. All right, that is everything in my bag. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We've got a bunch of plans coming out with more videos, so stay tuned for that. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.